Hi, hello everyone. Dawn Epting here. Thank you guys so much as always for watching. I wanted to come and share from the topic, you don't need the whole plan. You absolutely do not need the whole plan. And hopefully by the end of this video, we'll all be reminded that we can step out on the dreams and the desires that have been placed in our heart, regardless if we know every detail from A to Z currently. Thank you for watching whatever platform you're watching on. But if you are watching over YouTube, feel free to hit the subscribe button and the bell to receive notifications for future videos. So I wanted to get into this topic because so often a lot of us fail to live within our, or we fail to live our full potential because we allow ourselves to analyze and get paralyzed even when we have dreams and desires that have been placed in our hearts. So there are a number of spiritual teachings that talk about vision. There's a scripture that says, write the vision, make it plain. So number one, we just have to identify our vision. When we have something or a desire that has been placed in our heart, just look at the end result. There's a scripture that says that God declares the end from the beginning. So often we get bogged down in the details. Well, how can this happen? I've never had enough money, or I've always failed in relationships, or whatever your vision is. It may be for a business, it may be for, a marriage. We have to stay focused on the end result. We have to keep that end result in our hearts and in our minds. There's a teacher on YouTube, his name is Tom Karen, and he always talks about the messy middle. So often, even when we start out with, the end result in our hearts and an end goal, when things, start to go awry, so to speak, or start to go sideways, so often we get bogged down in the details instead of staying focused, laser focused on the end result. And that focus we must keep in our hearts, we must keep in our thoughts, and feel the feeling of it. Like I said, if your desire is to own a company or, to be wealthy, feel that feeling. Neville Goddard, many of you know him, the great mystic spiritual teacher, always said the feeling is the secret. So number one, we have to keep the end result in mind, regardless of the messy middle that we may encounter. Number two, and this may seem just very practical and fundamental, but we have to know that we deserve it. We have to know that we deserve it. So often in life, it can be from past experiences, or it can be from society. It can be our own, self-esteem issues. When we have a big vision or a big goal, sometimes we sabotage it, right? We self-sabotage it. We reason as to why it cannot come to pass for us. And often what is ironic is we believe that it can come to pass for other people, but we reason that for some reason, based on I don't have enough education, or I don't have enough credentials, or I don't have enough money. Again, money is a big one, right? We reason why these things cannot come to pass for us. Even with some of the things that I am now experiencing and, living the experience of, even with almost completing my doctorate degree now and building this house that I'm standing in. There used to be a time before my self-concept changed that I would not have thought that I was worthy of such things. But when we change our self-concepts, often, you know, receiving, because it's all been made available for us, right? Receiving becomes more seamless, it becomes easier because we believe that we deserve it. You know, we don't disqualify ourselves. So we have to know that by virtue of just being born, just of existing, that we have a right to these things. Nothing that we do right makes us more qualified, but more importantly, nothing that we do wrong disqualifies us from the blessings and abundance that has been made available to us. So number one, we have to keep the end result in mind. Declare the end from the beginning. Number two, we have to know that we are worthy, that we deserve it. There is another scripture that says that it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom, and that all things are already yours. And there is a quote, a book that I wrote. It's called Never Doubt Your Value, You Are More Than Enough. One author and orator said, you're worthy of greatness even if you don't see it yet. And that is quoted in the first chapter of my book, Never Doubt Your Value, You Are More Than Enough. So number two, we have to know that we deserve it. Just by virtue of existing, by being an eternal spiritual being, you're worthy. And finally, this kind of is a segue into the being worthy, but it's a little bit different, but it's very similar. You're worthy, but you have to see it as natural to you. You have to see it as natural to you. So often we keep things distant from us, you know, in our experience because we elevate them. We kind of think it's almost like we're still subconsciously or consciously, whatever you want to call it, saying that we're not worthy because we're like, oh, when I, you know, have this experience, I will have arrived, or I will really be something, you know, once I have this multi-million-dollar company. And we have to feel those things now. We have to feel like we are something, quote unquote, so to speak, and that we have arrived now, you know. And then when those things come, because they've all been made available to us, they're all, like I said, that scripture that says all things are yours. They already exist. They're already there. They're already available. It's a done deal. It's already available. You know, before I built this house, I remember meditating in the morning in my other house. And I remember seeing just land, lots of land, you know, as far as I could see. And, you know, which was a brownish color, and this is exactly what I see in this house. You know, beyond the lake there's farmland, and it's what I envisioned. So I say that to say that when I built this house recently, before I moved out of the other house that I still have, it was not a big deal. It was just neutral to me because I had seen it in my heart. I had looked at the land. I had seen it years before it actually came its physical manifestation. And it's because it already was, you know, it already existed in the spiritual realm, in the 5D, whatever you want to call it, you know, whatever terminology you want to use, in the field of all that is, in the spiritual. It already existed. It was just a matter of me walking in the physical manifestation of it. So when you see it as neutral and just a natural part of your identity, whether it's, you know, a house, a car, Same thing for luxury cars I've had over the past, or trucks over the past couple of years. It used to be a time I would have not seen that as natural to my identity, but over time it just was like, okay, I mean, I'm just supposed to. It's not even a big deal. You know, those things, of course, you're always grateful and you experience the gratitude for those things long before they show up in the so-called physical experience, but you don't place them on a pedestal. You just know that they don't define who you are. They just really just become an extension of who you already are, which by virtue of birth is, like I said earlier, an eternal spiritual being with infinite worth and value. So number 3, you know, you see those things as neutral to your identity. So number 1, you keep the end result in mind, regardless of the messy middle, the trying circumstances you may experience. You keep the end vision in mind. Number 2, you also have to know that you deserve those things, that you're worthy. And number 3, you see those things as a natural part of your identity. And that kind of flows out of being worthy and deserving it. And of course, there are practical steps that you take, you know, but as Tom Karen, I'll refer to him again, always says, the steps you take really don't. So often we get caught up in, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? When you really have a vision rooted in your heart, you don't even really become focused on external circumstances because you know you already possess it. And what you do or don't do, like he always says, doesn't matter, because you have already decided that you have accepted and are dwelling in the end goal and the end experience. So hopefully that was useful. It's been a while since I've made a video. There's been so much going on, as I stated earlier, but I'm glad to get back to it. I will be placing below this video how to stay involved with some of the things that we're doing this year. We're growing, we're expanding. I'm really excited about some of the opportunities that have presented themselves, including, well, just stay tuned. Stay tuned. And if you want to reach out for one-on-one, you know, assistance, feel free to do so. The link is below the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to talking to you guys soon.